Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of SacTown Movie Buffs. Once again, I'm Kier, and this is Jason. And today we are back reviewing two more films. The two films we'll be reviewing today will be His House and Save Yourself. Both films are streaming on various platforms. And I say without further ado, we just get right into it. So I'm going to have you go ahead and take the first film, if you don't mind, Jason, which is His House. So please tell us what that one is all about.
All right. His House is, as you can see there, it's a Netflix movie. Just came out a couple of weeks ago. It is about a young Sudanese refugee couple who are trying to set up a new home in England, having escaped their country and having a very disastrous trip across the ocean, losing a child along the way. And they basically are assigned a home to live in while they are basically, proving their citizenship or earning their citizenship. And the house that they're put into, it's in some ways it's a haunted house movie, but in other ways it is more kind of, the implication is that some kind of evil spirit has followed them over. And it sometimes takes the form of the little girl that they lost on the way over. So, but it's not just a haunted house movie. What I really liked about this movie, and I did really, really, really like this movie, is that it's a horror movie where the horror comes equally from the real world and from kind of the supernatural world. Like it's kind of well balanced in the fact that it is a horror film about a ghost or an evil spirit, but it's also a horror film about their lives back in the Sudan, and it really does a good job of layering those two threads, the supernatural with the massacres that they saw before, which are presented in flashback in kind of a neat non-chronological way. So yeah, I didn't really know what to expect with this movie. I saw that it had good reviews, and that it was, for a little while there, it was in Netflix's top 10. So that's what made me want to watch it. But I was really kind of unprepared for how powerful this movie is. Like, it really blew me away emotionally. It's been a long time since I've seen a horror movie that really got to me on that emotional level. Because you really feel strongly for these two people, especially the more you learn about them and the more you learn about what they were fleeing. So it works on so many levels. The acting is fantastic. It is genuinely scary. It's genuinely moving, and the storyline works whether you look at it as just a haunted house movie or if you look at it as a metaphor for the trauma that people take with them throughout their lives. And how you deal with the trauma that you carry with you. So, yeah, it's a very interesting movie. I highly, highly recommend it. How about you?
Yeah, I liked it as well. I don't know. I never quite liked movies as much as you do, of course, but I don't know if I quite liked it as much as you did. But I did like it. I thought it was a unique horror film. I don't think I've
Mhm.
quite seen a horror film that was essentially based on the Sudan, and it, like you said, it does have a lot of different layers with it, chronicling like the genocide and the factions that were going on in Sudan and refugees and fleeing and that sort of stuff. And so that was also, like you said, just as almost equally as horrifying in the flashback sequence. It's a little simple in some ways because the couple is pretty much this isn't a spoiler, when they flee to London, they're given this house, or his house, I guess, if you will. And I thought it was interesting, and just like all the rules and restrictions that like you have to adhere by. When you basically are trying to flee to another country, and this case being England. I don't know if we have the same laws here like that here in the U.S., but it was basically, the rules were crazy. I mean, like, just in terms of just things that I didn't know about or didn't understand about. I've seen the movie The Visitor, which, they
Mhm.
obviously had immigration issues and things of that nature, but this was a whole nother level in terms of, they provide them with a house, they provide them with like a monthly stipend, But then, they have all these rules and restrictions about not being able to work, not being able to have friends over, not being able to, I think have alcohol and just a bunch of other rules and so regulations and stuff like that. So because of that, because there was all these rules and restrictions, and they're in a new city where they don't know anybody. They don't have any friends. They don't even know exactly particularly where they're at because they're just thrown on a bus and basically driven someplace. So we don't even know. They thought maybe they were in London and people were saying, sure, whatever, whatever you think we are at, So they're basically just thrown into this like house, which is a big house. It's like a big, like 2-story house. That's supposed to be like a really, really big house. I mean, it's not the nicest house, that's for sure, but space wise, it was a very big house. And then, like you said, then all these things that are coming up and you're trying to figure out whether the house is haunted or if it's a spirit that followed them. And you kind of find out, over the course of the way, exactly what the spirit is, where it comes from and when it stems from. And so it does have a lot of layers trying to figure out exactly where the horror element actually stems from. So that was interesting as well. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good film. Like you said, there was a lot of powerful things, and like I said, a lot of things that I didn't know about initially, about the Sudan and about refugees that flee to a different country, some of the restrictions that are imposed upon them. So yeah, pretty good film overall. Not a bad one, not a bad way to spend, and it's not very long either. I don't know, hour and a half or something.
Hour and a half, yeah.
Not a bad way to spend an hour and a half. So yeah, for sure,
definitely not.
And definitely had some very creepy imagery as well. So
yes,
there was some very creepy imagery throughout the film also. So
yeah, and it got it's gotten a lot of comparisons to the Babadook. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
I actually prefer this one to that though. A lot of people really love the Babadook, and I like it. I thought it was good, but I never quite loved it as much as other people seem to. And the way they got compared is that in both of those movies, you could look at the monster as, a metaphor for something else. Grief.
A lot of horror films are like that.
Yeah,
though,
yeah. But I like the Babadook fine, but I thought this was a better movie personally.
Yeah, I haven't seen the Babadook in many years, so I don't particularly remember it well enough to give a full comparison which one was better. I don't remember necessarily loving the Babadook though, so I guess by default I would probably go with his house as well. So, but it's also in recent memory, so who knows? Maybe I rewatch it and say, no way. No way. So
Babadooking for life.
Yeah, that's right, man. Team Babadook. I got the tattoo. But no, I don't know. Like I said, I did enjoy it. I did think it was a fun film. Definitely one that both films are actually kind of similar in the way that they're both mostly set in a house. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's true.
There's not and I'll get to the other one in just a minute here. But both films are simplistic, which I don't mind necessarily. And both films, they do leave the house. There are other scenes, especially in this one, where they are like, and some of those scenes are kind of creepy as well. Like, there's a scene where like, the wife gets lost and that kind of stuff, in like the neighborhood and that sort of stuff. And so, there are some really good scenes also about them like leaving the house and that sort of stuff too. But it's mostly set in a confined space. And it's mostly just the two of them as well. So there are some limitations with that also. So, but overall, I enjoyed it. So,
cool.
Anything else you wanted to add about that film?
Nope. I'll wait till later.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then the second film, I'll go ahead and take this one on, which is called Save Yourselves. I believe I got this one on, where did I find this one on? Hulu? No. I don't remember. Anyways, it's streaming on various platforms. Just Google Amazon. Yeah, just Google Save Yourselves is streaming on various platforms. You can find it. So
yeah.
But yeah, this one is basically about another couple, essentially. So, who are they're like some New Yorkers. They're kind of in a rut. Hipsters, yeah, they're hipsters who are kind of in a rut and feel like they're not really doing anything with their lives. They're both kind of like, either 30 or in their 30s or almost 30, and they've been together for quite some time, and they're constantly, like you said, they're kind of more into like their phones and social media and this sort of stuff. and they end up going to like I guess like a wedding reception or wedding or party or some sort. I can't remember specifically. I thought it was a wedding. I'm not for sure what
Yeah,
it
I think
was.
so. A wedding, yeah.
Yeah, so they end up going to a wedding, and at the reception, they end up running into an old friend of theirs who basically is saying that he's building like some or restoring some cabin upstate, where he basically offers them to basically stay there for a few days, or hey, it's almost done, you guys can go up here and stay for a few days. And they're like, well, this would be awesome, just to like shut off our cell phones and shut off all social media and just go up to this cabin and just kind of chill out for a few days and kind of reconnect with ourselves and kind of recenter ourselves and that sort of stuff. And so they purposely shut off all their cell phones. They go up to the cabin, and I guess not to get to too many spoilers, I won't go too much into it, but I will say that it's a science fiction film that turns into a science fiction film, basically. So they go to the cabin, and then they, for whatever reason, the girl decides to turn her phone on, and then hears about some things going on in New York City that that her mom basically is saying, hey, did you hear about these things that are happening in the city? And they think nothing of it, and then those things basically start happening. I guess it's kind of a spoiler, so I don't want to get into too much. So they basically hear about
yeah.
Oh,
Go
what?
ahead. Yeah.
So basically some things start happening at their house, and they realize that something going on. There's some, there may be potentially some sci-fi things happening at their house, and they basically turn their phones on and start getting all these messages from all their people, basically saying that they are fleeing the city because there's some things happening, basically. So, so it's a comedy. It's kind of a science fiction film. And like I said, I don't want to get too much into spoilers because you don't find out exactly what it is until the second half of the movie. So it's a little hard to go directly into it without giving too many spoilers. The image does show part of that, this little like fuzzball thing that you see there. It does show some foretelling of exactly what's happening in the film in the second half with the science fiction. So basically, like I said, it kind of turns into a save yourself moment because you're basically trying to save themselves from whatever is experiencing or what's happening. So I guess that's the best way to describe it without giving too many spoilers about exactly specifically what it is. So I don't know. The only thing I'll say is it reminded me a little bit of Critters. Let's put it that way. So that's kind of what it reminded me a little bit of in terms of the science fiction element. It's funny. It's a comedy. It's a little wacky in parts. But overall, I did enjoy it. I thought it was interesting. I thought that they had good chemistry. The couple, they were a little annoying because they're both kind of the New Yorkie, hipsters, I guess, if you will. So, but overall, I thought they had good chemistry together. And it's another film where it's primarily just the two of them for pretty much the bulk of the film. I mean, outside of, a couple scenes here and there of things that are happening right outside of their cabin, you really don't have a lot of interaction with any other characters in the film except for the two of them and the science fiction element, if you will, that pops up in the film. But yeah, like I said, I did enjoy it. I thought it was fun overall, and like I said, it did have some funny moments in it also. I don't know, what was your take, and I don't know if you wanted to elaborate more on exactly what it was, but like I said, I was trying not to give too much away. So
well, I don't think it's a spoiler really because it's in all of the descriptions of the movie I read.
Is it? Okay.
What I think you're referring to. Did you know that was going to happen?
No, I didn't read anything about it though ahead of time.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
okay.
If you're just watching the film, I don't know if I didn't know because I didn't see trailers or anything like that for it. I just kind of went into it blind. So
I didn't watch the trailer, but it's in the synopsis. So
okay.
I mean, I can keep coy if you want me to, but
I mean, if you think it's fine, then
yeah.
like I said, I know we try to do like non-spoilers, so I didn't know if it was or not. But if you don't think that it's a spoiler, then we could say exactly what's going on.
I don't think it's a spoiler, man, because it's in all the descriptions, all the reviews I read. But basically, like they decide to disconnect from the internet and go out, into the woods,
right,
at the exact pretty much moment that aliens invade the Earth. That's basically it. And so it's kind of like signs in a way that, it's that experience from the middle of nowhere. You know what I mean? Like usually alien invasion movies are set like in the city and they involve doctors and the military and people who are in the mix of it. And Signs, one of the things I really like about Signs and that I like about this movie is that it's from the perspective of people who are in the middle of nowhere and are just basically, you know, it comes to them, you know what I mean? Like it takes a while, you know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say, but,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's a spoiler, man. But yeah, sorry. But yeah, I think I really liked it. I thought the two actors were really good together.
I guess
I
just
thought it was
because
great.
sorry, I guess just because it's so far into the movie before it happens. I guess that's what I was thinking. So, because you don't really know, you know that they're going to the woods, you know something's going to happen there, but you don't know specifically what it was. I guess so.
Yeah.
And there's no signs leading up to that, you know, really. So
Yeah. Well, there kind of are. I mean, when they turn off their phones and you see all those things coming down out of the sky. So
they're just like shooting stars, though.
Okay. Yeah.
So I don't know.
All right. But anyway, I liked the actors a lot. I thought they were really good together. And yeah, I thought it was really funny. Like I laughed out loud a lot. And the effects were good. You know, obviously this movie doesn't have a high budget for effects or anything like that.
Yeah.
But they deal with that pretty well. I think they get around the budget limitations. And the effects that are in there are pretty good. My only complaint is that it does seem like they didn't quite know how to end it. You know what I mean? I'm definitely not going to say how it ends or anything like that, but it definitely seems like they get to a point where they don't really know quite how to wrap things up. So they don't really. It's got a pretty ambiguous ending.
Yeah.
Which I didn't dislike the ending. You know, I like it. It's a good ending, but it does seem kind of like it could have been a better ending a little bit, maybe. I don't know.
I had a few issues with the ending myself, and like I said, it's kind of hard to really elaborate on it without going too much into specifically what it was. It is an ambiguous ending, but I also had some issues with terms of how at peace they were with the ending. You know what I mean? Like they just seemed like, okay, this is fine, we're good. You know what I mean? And it's like kind of, you know, and so you know, I don't know. It was kind of ambiguous, and I did, you know, I had some, like I said, I definitely had some. It warranted more questions in terms of how it ended. You know what I mean? Because I have no clue what happens from there. So.
Right. Yeah.
So, but oh yeah, overall not a bad film though. So.
No, I liked it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you wanted to add about that one?
Nope.
Cool. All right. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll get into some reviews or get into our grading on that. So we'll start with His House. Overall grade and face you would give that one?
I gave that 5 stars. Yeah, I really loved it. I was, you know, I don't think there's anything. I mean, I can't think of anything that movie did poorly or even less than very, very, very well. So, yeah, I thought everything, like I thought, and it's a debut film. That really blew me away that it's the director's first movie was that good. Like the acting is great. It's scary. It's well paced. It's never boring. It's interesting. It's unique. It has so many different threads, and I think it hits them all well. So yeah, I gave that 5 stars, man. So this face. Cheesing it. Big smile. Loved it.
All right. Cool, man. Cool. First 5-star film of the year for you, or?
Second. No, only the second. I've had a lot of 4.5s, but not only 2 5-star movies.
All right.
Smarty well, cool. Pants.
Cool. I liked it a lot. I didn't think it was perfect by any means. But I'm leaning more towards like a 3 stars for myself. So, but I did like it. Like I said, it was decent. It was a little simplistic for me. So, and but overall, I liked it. 3 stars. So I'm going to give it this face, which is a smile and no teeth. So, hey, man. You know, it would take a lot for me to give that film 5 stars. That's being a little generous, I feel like, but you know, it is what it is. So,
All right.
To say it's a perfect film, it's
I couldn't think of anything that it did wrong.
all right. No, you know, that's you know, different strokes for different folks. So, but I did like it. So, just you know, wasn't a perfect film in my opinion, but clearly it was for Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And then Save Yourselves. Overall grade and face you would give that one.
I gave that 4 out of 5. So a good solid B+, which is this face. Smile with some teeth. Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. Wasn't perfect, but I had a very good time.
Cool. Yeah, I'm actually going to go with the same grade on this one as well, which is 3 out of 5 as well. Same. I enjoyed it. It was decent. You know, had some funny parts. Also seemed a little simplistic, especially the special effects in this case, for the most part. But overall, not a bad film. So I gave 3 out of 5, and I gave it this face, which is also a smile with no teeth. So, but yeah. But overall, we both liked the films. Jason clearly liked them more than I did, but we both liked them, which is typically the case, obviously. But yeah, so I like both films, and but let us know in the comments, you know, if you've seen both or either film, you know, your take on it, you know, kind of what you thought about either the films or both of them if you've seen them. As always, if you like the channel, we do ask that you like, subscribe, and basically also hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of our updates. And we will be back again with another show for you guys again real soon. We thank you for watching, and we hope you have a great day. Bye.
Bye.